Looking good.
Yeah, likewise.
It has been known for some time now that Uganda is one of the top consumers of the tear gas substance. It is of no surprise that a student at Makerere University has come up with an idea to manufacture the tear gas. Mr. Samuel Mugarura, the brain behind this invention, will be joining us in studio later on in this bulletin. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Mac TV. My name is Aggrey Nyondwa. And
Violet Namata with today's edition of The Daily Live. But first, let's take a look at the top stories today.
Innovations rock Makerere University as student makes tear gas.
We are not leaving. Vendors vow to stay on the streets of Kampala.
Disney World releases its first ever Ugandan production.
And in sports, Uganda holds firm to a goalless draw in Accra.
Thank you so much for joining us. We now bring you the news in detail. City vendors in Kampala have vowed to stay on the streets conducting their businesses. This comes after the Minister of Kampala issued a directive ordering them to vacate the street with a one-week ultimatum. The vendors argue that they cannot pay taxes and rent.
Last month, the Minister of Kampala, Betty Olive Namisango Kamya, directed street vendors off the city streets. This followed the one-week ultimatum given to the authorities by Kampala City Traders Association to take action on street vendors who are becoming a challenge to the traders. Kasita says these vendors have distorted their businesses.
I am imagining a business hub like Kampala without traceable people for income tax. All this shows you that the days of the illicit trading on the streets of Kampala are numbered.
However, the vendors have vowed not to leave streets, saying that their businesses are on a small scale. Selling goods on streets is illegal trading and it affects the income taxes to the government. Authorized traders say they incur a lot of expenses on rent, taxes, garbage fee and others.
We hope
this time round there will be solutions to such collisions between the Kasita and the street vendors. Brenda Namuli, Mark TV.
There has been a stir in the Ugandan movie industry following the release of Queen of Katwe by Disney World. The movie has received enormous positive reception both here in Uganda and across borders. Rachel Tusime takes us through the details of this movie.
Disney released its first ever movie based on a Ugandan true story this September. The movie Queen of Katwe is about an extremely talented chess player, Fiona Mutesi from Uganda, and how she rises from grass to grace. It features Oscar Award winner Lupita Nyong'o, David Oyelowo, and Madina Naranga, among others. The movie premiered in Uganda on the 1st of October at Century Cinemax, where audiences and cast members were in attendance, including Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Harriet Mutesi, mother to Fiona Mutesi.
I think this is a film we made with a lot of love and passion, and I hope that it's received with that as well.
Sarah Kasauzi, who features in the documentary of the movie, spoke to us about her reactions.
Madina, she really, I saw her coming, you know, in the beginning wasn't steady, like not really being steady, but she was kind of like everybody, because she's new to this field, but she really pulled it off.
Irene Katshawe, a student from Makerere, shared with us her views about the movie.
Because there are those moments when she wouldn't really bring out the mere fact that she was a poor woman who didn't have a husband to take care of her, who really was a needy woman. So she wasn't that natural as it was supposed to be.
Okay. The inspirational true story movie Queen of Katwe has no doubt received welcome in Uganda. We hope that it acts as an example of what stories from Uganda can accomplish and acts as a booster for the movie industry in Uganda. For Mark TV, I'm Tusime Amtaire.
Innovation is at its peak at Makerere University following the latest tear gas invention by a student at the chemistry department. This innovation has attracted everyone's attention, including the president himself. Well, joining us in Studio B is Samuel Mugalula to discuss more about his tear gas innovation and what it means for Uganda as a country. Let us now switch to Studio B, where Aggrey hosts our guest. Aggrey, over to you.
Thank you so much, Violet. Welcome to this segment of the Daily Life. Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Samuel Mugalula. Mr. Samuel Mugalula is a student at Makerere University who has been so popular for having invented this tear gas that everyone is talking about. Well, first things first, I'll turn to you, Mr. Samuel. Where did you even get this idea from? How did you come up with such an idea?
I think it was 2014. There was a very serious strike, 60% strike.
Yeah.
I think it had to go about 4 days. So as I was heading to UH where I sleep, I landed on, there were very many used tear gas canisters. Yeah. So I landed on one, I had to check the packaging, the detonation, the ingredients. Then I got an idea that sure I could come up with something an exact like device.
Yeah. What has been the police's reaction? Have they engaged you or have you engaged them in any way?
At first they called me a criminal.
Yes.
Because they were scared of something that they didn't know and they didn't expect. But later on, they appreciate it. They learn to appreciate.
So it has been known to everyone that you got this special invitation from the president. Your invention has attracted the president. And I understand you'll be meeting the president anytime soon. So how has that changed you? Or what are you planning to tell the president when you actually get a chance to meet him?
First of all, I need to introduce my project fully to him. And I need to enlighten, I need to contextualize my work economically, you know. And another thing, I would ask him for a scholarship first, because these are homemade things. I haven't yet learned how to do these things on a large scale, yes. Industrial. So some of the materials, I've never seen them that could help you do it on a large scale. So if I could get a scholarship first,
you'd want to explore more.
Say that I come up with something that the government can rely on, something that is more professional, something that is more sustainable.
Are you funded by anyone? Are you finding any money somewhere
as I told you, the process has been slow. It has took me 2 years to come up with different explosive devices, and I'm very selfless.
Okay.
I can chill nice suit, I can chill breakfast.
And you invest in this.
And invest in something that you think could,
change.
Could change.
Well, you've heard it from Mr. Samuel Mugalula, a student at Makerere University who decided to come with such an interesting invention of the tear gas. We are now going to go for a short commercial break, but here's what is still to come. Using the Kwepena sport to improve the life of a girl child. Erectile dysfunction, what a menace to the male reproductive health.
Sponsored by UN Women, Ministry of Information and National Guidance, Kampala Serena Hotel, The Red Pepper, DVI, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and African Dreams.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We are glad that you're still watching Mark TV. Now moving on, as cesarean section continues to haunt women in the labor ward and the increased maternal rate today, doctors partly attribute it to obstructed labor, which the public still remain ignorant of. Now, a student at Makerere University has invented an app to detect obstructed labor even at its earliest stages.
Every mother's joy is to see that out of their 9 months of pregnancy, their babies are born healthy and happy. But this has been shattered by obstructed labor. Obstructed labor is when a mother cannot have normal delivery, and it happens when the presenting part of the fetus cannot progress into the birth canal despite strong uterine contractions, which calls for cesarean section. This has inspired Julius Mugaga, a 22-year-old student of Makerere University, College of Health Sciences, to invent the FIST app.
First I started with a track, but the one mainly doing Makerere. But the app became as because before even I was winning the mark, I already had that idea and written down everything.
A medical phone application meant to predetermine chances of obstructed labor as early as at 7 months.
This app, like I said, it's a multi-parametric app, but inside it there is an equation. So it's this equation that we are using to produce the percentage risk of pregnancy to have obstructed labor.
Ugandans are already excited about this app, and some mothers had this to say.
It will help people. The only problem, people who don't know how to use the app, people who don't have smartphones cannot benefit from the app.
The FIST app is undergoing tests at Kawola and Iganga hospitals in Uganda, and soon it will be on Google Play Store for downloads. Hopefully, just a download will be enough for solving obstructed labor. Ruth Nakafuma reporting for Mark TV.
Well, thank you so much, Ruth Nakafuma, for that wonderful story. That's quite an impressive application right there.
Yeah.
Very good invention, yet from a Makerere University student. Impressive. Well, moving on. At the beginning of this year, Ugandans went to the poll after a heated presidential campaign. In the end, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni emerged victor, trouncing his closest rivals, Dr. Kizza Besigye and Amama Mbabazi. From the chessboard, our reporter Patience Indinawe looks at the strategies and the tactics that define the result of this election.
Sometimes art imitates life. Some games do so as well. Every move our politicians made during the 2016 February elections can be analyzed and interpreted on the chessboard, not only for its significance, but also how it played in each other's favor. NRM sole candidate Yoweri Museveni was facing all-time rival FDC's Kizza Besigye, former right-hand man Amama Mbabazi of Go Forward, and 5 others in a contest that he subsequently won. Timothy Karyejera is a journalist and a political commentator who has been following Uganda's politics for the last 40 years. He says from the onset, the 2016 election looked at Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's win in waiting.
The result was predictable. The 2 lead candidates were predictable, and the outcome fairly well predictable.
Tony Owana, a historian and the head of political programming at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, also gives Karyejera's argument a clean bill of health. He, however, argues that over time, the opposition has failed to create a formidable force capable of ousting Museveni.
There's also the problem of zeroing in on people who have lived with Museveni for a long time as the best candidates to oppose him. And that to me is a mistake.
Owana argues that Mbabazi tried a decent outing by far, but his utter lack of slickness didn't play well with voters who wanted authenticity.
Candidate Mbabazi was still described as NRM. Now that one caused a lot of confusion among voters. So how could there be a candidate who was opposing the NRM candidate and was still saying he is in NRM?
The confusion that later ensued when parties failed to reach a consensus on who should steer TDA forward can be argued to have played in Museveni's favor.
So how can somebody who says it's NRM, not rumored to be, but says he's NRM, lead an opposition force like TDA?
For Karyejera, TDA would have been more relevant if it focused on other elective positions other than the presidential slot.
Had you left, it's not at the front line, but had you kept your King Bessie and Babazi King Queen. Somewhat nearer here, but brought many of these other pieces forward. Parliamentary, LC5, chairman, district councillor. Basically, had you made a move, had you moved your entire force up front here, you'd have had an army at least matching the Museveni's.
As it turned out, President Museveni was announced victor of the elections, once more proving that he was a better chess player as his opponents cried foul. Patience Ndinawe for Mark TV.
Now, the Kwepena sport seems to be no new word to many a woman who grew up in Uganda. This sport, which is also known as cheza, has of late resurfaced and used to improve the lives of many girl children by raising funds to provide education, shelter, and health care for them. Charlotte Arinaitwe did a feature on this.
Being raised by a single mother, Simon Peter Tumukunde has always wanted the best for every girl and woman. Tumukunde is partnering with the remnant generation in running the Together for Her campaign, which aims at helping girls faced with crisis pregnancy. The 22-year-old founder of Cheza, a modified version of Kwepena, a traditional sport played by African girls, believes this game can unite societies and achieve social change.
I've seen what ladies go through. Me, personally, myself, I would like to see ladies go through. These are mothers. At the moment, they don't take care of them.
Tumukunde organizes public events where individuals and organizations are called upon to participate so as to raise funds for victims of teenage pregnancies and incest cases.
I want to encourage all the young men out there that the day we start respecting girls, the day we start looking at them beyond your sex need, the day we start realizing that, they can offer you more than a kiss, offer you more than a nude Facebook post.
Tumukunde believes that it's so vital to empower girls and women because they have a longer lifespan compared to men, and therefore they need to be prepared to survive in case the men in their lives leave them.
Like Simon Peter Tumukunde, all men and boys drop the negative attitudes they have towards women and challenge the gender roles they've been socialized into performing, gender disparities in men. For Mark TV, I'm Charlotte Arinaitwe.
We have seen this story. Someone is trying to do something to ensure that women are on level ground with their male counterparts. So as a man, what have you done to ensure that there is gender equality and equity in this nation?
Well, quite a number of things you would say, because I look at it as a responsibility. And I've made sure that at whatever responsibility, leadership role that I take on, there's always a woman to support me, to guide me, and give me, that unique guidance. You women, you make such amazing leaders, actually.
Definitely.
And now, the natural environment at Makerere University is on the verge of total destruction, thanks to the numerous construction sites at the campus. The Estates Department a few months ago embarked on having all the unfinished buildings completed.
For a couple of months, Makerere University has unleashed construction of buildings meant to facilitate lecture rooms and research centers, courtesy of $12.4 billion loan from the African Development Bank. The environmentalists argue that with such projects, trees are usually cleared to provide space for the buildings, which directly affects the soil since it becomes eroded, dry, and polluted. The trees also act as a natural habitat for species such as Marabusto. Dr. James Okumu Okod, a department head of environmental sciences in Makerere University, enlightens more on the negative impacts that can be generated by construction sites if safety measures are not taken.
So during the construction work, the contractor together with the supervisor, in this case of Makerere University, the supervisor is works and estates. They are supposed to ensure that the mitigation measures are being implemented. Okay? That prevents the impacts or reduces the impacts on the environment.
Makerere University, being a center of learning, is mostly composed of students, and therefore they are directly affected.
Students have been affected in a way when they are collectors.
that noise that comes in disturbs people.
So one wonders if environment is first taken into considerations before a construction takes place. Reporting for Mark TV, OH Maria Immaculate, Makerere University.
Thank you so much, Maria. Now, there has been a report that suggests men are at a risk of a killer sexual disease called erectile dysfunction. The report was released last month by World Health Organization.
Erectile dysfunction is a condition in men that results from improper blood flow in a male's member, which leads to inappropriate function. With research indicating that over 30% of men all over the world suffer from this condition, this issue continues to be a serious challenge to both men and women who are potential victims. Dr. Richard Kalungi, a general doctor at Royal Healthcare, clarifies on what ED, as abbreviated in the medical world, exactly is.
In erectile dysfunction, we look at someone's ability to erect or to get an erection. Then number two, we look at their ability to sustain or to maintain the erection. The number three, we look at the strength or the rigidity of the erection.
However, the possibility of treating to cure the condition in question is an issue to contest, considering that many men do not take initiative to reach out for medical intervention. Today, street-sold herbs that are alleged to boost men's sexual vitality have become very popular and gained momentum on the market, with skyrocket demand. Timothy Ouma, a journalist and musician, agrees with Dr. Kalungi's submission that many men find it hard to settle their score in the doctor's room, and also admits that many consider the issue personal and would rather not discuss it at all.
I think it's high time guys should just drop the ego and just go to the hospital and they get the checkups from the correct doctors. Many people believe in using herbs which are not yet clinically proven.
Dr. Kalungi reveals remedies of the medical approach that can possibly kick the condition to the curb. As erectile dysfunction continues to be a challenge to many men, the doctor's submission indicates that this disease can be curbed and altogether cured. Bridget Mutumba, Mark TV, Kampala.
Thank you so much. Well, I hope I'm not a victim of erectile dysfunction.
I think you should go for a checkup as soon as possible.
Indeed, I should, and I hope all the men out there take it up upon themselves to go and test it out. Now moving on to the world of sports. Uganda Cranes kicked off its 2018 World Cup qualifier campaign with a goalless draw in Ghana. The team, which traveled with a number of amateur players due to the numerous injuries, was least expected to put up such a performance.
Uganda held firm to a goalless match with Ghana in the opening game of Group E of 2018 World Cup qualifiers, which took place in Tamale Sports Stadium. The Black Stars had many chances of winning the game, but they were unable to make any of them count. Cranes goalkeeper Dennis Masinde Onyango played an outstanding role to keep Ghana at bay.
Dennis Onyango seemed to have spilled it.
With this draw, Uganda stands second in Group E, with Egypt taking the lead, Ghana and Congo-Brazzaville in the third and fourth positions respectively. It was fairly a good start for Uganda, hoping to see the Cranes in the World Cup come 2018. You never know. Uganda Cranes can still make it to the World Cup. Joyce Nachiwambo, reporting for Bulletin.
Well, we wish Uganda Cranes the very best.
Oh, we have to pray for them as they're out there representing us.
Well, that is all we had for you today. It has been great having you around. You can follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it is the Daily Life page, and on Twitter at Daily Life. Keep watching Mark TV.
Have a good afternoon.